my seat.
Okay. I'm assuming we can roll off of the call to order that we had before and just reopen this meeting. Okay, let's reopen this meeting. Still make note that Marchand's not in attendance yet. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I'm assuming we can roll off of the call to order that we had before and just reopen this meeting.
With liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Have the solar system on the agenda.
To order or
Still being
things on
delayed.
back order.
Okay, next on the list is the presentation. If we have the chief coming up. Okay.
Looking for my guy. Mike, you went straight to voicemail, so I'm not gonna skip over that. You can go over that one side. Get him in here.
Marchand's on his way. Mayor, over here, just a brief minute. Do you want to welcome our students that are here from the local
Yeah, get your photo op out of the way.
Yeah,
And let's do that real quick.
yeah. I don't know if we've shifted the cameras to show the audience, but we do have a full audience thanks to the government program at Battlefield. We got to definitely figure out what teacher that is and give him a thank you.
Oh, I want him
But,
to come here. I want him to come here and make a presentation.
So, yeah, might as well make this a photo op moment. We can have everybody who's in attendance for that government class. We can come up to the front of the dais here and take a picture with council members who are willing to participate. And
No,
me.
that's a mayor's job. You're gonna go up there? Oh,
All of us?
why?
Come on up. We'll circle around on the steps here. Careful. Both sides is good.
No, I'm gonna hide my back so nobody gets my picture on. I'm not exactly
So pictures for
photogenic
anybody who wants them.
or needs them.
Good.
After you leave.
Good to go, Mr. Mayor? Good to go?
We're good to go.
Okay, thank you for taking this time to recognize tonight and give me this moment. As you know, I've been here now for 13 months, just a little over a year, and I've made two observations during that time. One of the best observations that I've seen is the fact that we have a first-rate group of officers, and it's a pleasure, truly a pleasure to work with each one of them. Every month, I'm receiving letters from the community on how they've done something. They went out of their way, from buying somebody, a homeless person, a meal, to engaging the youth at a local restaurant in our community. It's truly an honor to work with these officers. They do a great job, and truly I could commend each of our officers, every one of them, at least once a week, for going above and beyond. These guys never cease to amaze me. But tonight, I wanted to speak about Officer Charles Burgoon. Chip, stand up, get over here where everybody can watch you. It's your moment, buddy. You've earned it. As you know, Chip's been with our office for about 3 years now. He's got over 10 years of law enforcement experience. There's not much that Chip can't do, and I think everybody knows that. I've started calling him triple threat. He can police, he can fly a drone, and we all know that he can sing. And Chip's had a banner year. He's been heavily involved with an embezzlement case and other cases that he's working. He's completed drone pilot school. He's a bike patrol officer. And again, he can sing. There's no doubt about it. There's many things that I could commend Chip for over the last year, but tonight I want to zero in on one event that happened here in the town of Haymarket on April 26th of this year at about 2 a.m. Chip was on patrol in the town and received radio traffic that a vehicle pursuit was entering our jurisdiction that initiated in Fauquier County. Chip prepared himself and asked Prince William County to deploy spike strips prior to entering the town limits, trying to protect the town and its community. The suspect was still able to enter into the town with a Fauquier unit in pursuit. Chip engaged in the pursuit and followed it down Madison Avenue here in the town of Haymarket. At that time, the vehicle struck the Fauquier County deputy's car and almost hit Chip as he exited his vehicle. The suspect then attempted to leave the area going back towards Washington Avenue, and in doing so, purposely struck a Prince William County Police Department unit that was sitting in a residential driveway. The suspect then again hit it towards Washington Street and struck another officer's vehicle. 3 officers' vehicles he had struck purposely each time. After witnessing all the suspect's actions and almost being run over himself, Officer Burgoon took decisive action to end the pursuit. And there's no doubt in my mind that Officer Burgoon's actions stopped further property damage, injuries, and loss of life. Officer Burgoon's commendation tonight reads, "In appreciation for your selfless act of valor on April 26, 2022. Thank you for your commendable and dedicated service to our community, Chip. We appreciate everything you do, and thank you for that." So we've gotten you a commendation bar for your uniform, and then a plaque that reads exactly what I said on it tonight for you to display proudly for your actions on that evening. And again, we thank you for everything you do for the community.
Wait a minute, doesn't he have to sing now?
You can.
Give him a chance.
Gotta get a picture too.
You guys need your pictures.
Does the council?
You
We're all
can
good?
just stand up.
Oh, okay.
And I got you all.
Stay right there.
Thanks. Maybe it'll cut me out.
Good job.
Good job, Chip.
I told Chip last week that we were very fortunate to have him here. He does a great job, and with everything he does, he puts 100% into it. So I'm not finished.
Oh.
The second observation I didn't elaborate on. I've been in law enforcement as of November 2nd, 33 years. During this time, I've worked with many council members, board of supervisors, financial staff, city managers, and county administrators. And until September 27th of 2021, I've never come close to having 100% support from council and staff. So what changed on that date? I came to work here. Our town manager, our clerk, our treasurer, our town staff all work well together, and they are truly vested in this community. It's not just a job to them. They want what's best for our community and its members. And I say thank you to you guys. You, the council members, are the same. Vested in this community, fully support me and the police department in all of our actions. You 7 are example for other government entities to follow. I thank you for your support of our department, and I wish every law enforcement in the U.S. could work for an entity like you. The community as well, they fully support us, and I appreciate that, and I thank them. With that being said, though, we're losing one cog in this wheel. One person. Councilman Morse has been a great department liaison, a great friend, and just a fine example of leadership. Councilman Morse, I thank you for your dedication to this community and our police department. You are an inspiration that will be greatly missed. We wish you Godspeed with your new endeavors, and we'd like to leave you with a little memento of our gratitude. So,
What's going on?
Is that a get out of jail free card?
not quite.
Oh, that's really nice.
So we had this made for you,
Oh, man.
and each member of the office signed it so that you got something to remember us by.
That's amazing.
And we really appreciate everything you do for us.
Well, that's why these people are here? What you guys do?
Well done.
That is
Well
awesome.
done.
All he gets me is a donut.
You get another picture? You get another picture?
No.
Yeah.
Definitely be that you're not.
Very nice.
And I was so long-winded just so we could hold on to you for a little bit longer tonight. I told you I was going to make you stay as late as I could. Again, we thank you, Mr. Morris. Greatly appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Steve.
And to that note, council has a little bit to say as well. Me representing the council, I'd like to do a presentation of appreciation for you tonight. Tonight, the town would like to say thank you to a man who has spent countless hours serving his community. Chris was always present at town council meetings, ready to discuss a variety of topics and always put the people of Haymarket first. The years of hard work, dedication, and passion for the prosperity of the town did not go unnoticed. Chris took on the responsibility as the police department and the personnel liaison and was actively involved with the interview process in finding one of the best police chiefs the town has ever had. His love for community and those in Longstreet Commons showed during his involvement in Haymarket Day and the end of the school year water balloon fight. This kind of passion is something all public officials should strive to emulate. The town would also like to thank Chris's wife, Dahlia.
My better half.
Thank you for sharing your husband with us and the town. Through all of the late night meetings that we've had in the past, right, and the town events. Both of you have made a sacrifice for the betterment of the town, and the town has been lucky to have you. Please accept this small token of appreciation and gratitude. We wish you both luck and much success with the next season of your life.
Just need to put a kneeler in here.
Oh, we gotta have a picture now. That's for Dolly.
Oh, those are so pretty. I love them.
Dahlia up here too, she can be part of it.
Yeah, just move it. There you go. Okay. Stay up here, Dahlia.
She was trying.
Stay up here.
Right here.
Ooh, you okay?
Mayor, do you want to hold your, and then Chris, you can. Thank you. Bob.
Yeah.
Bob Stanley. Oh, sorry.
And then I think we should do a photo with all your residents who came up. Yes.
Yeah, you can go. I'm former resident.
Any other long streeters want to come join? Great.
No, someone.
You can't.
Come on up.
That's the Longstreet posse. Go Longstreet.
I stand in back so I'm hidden. Nobody wants to see me in the picture.
If you wanted protection for the carry home, Chris.
Good idea.
Okay, now we can get serious, right? We'll move on to the agenda items. Is Roberto online?
I'm here.
Okay. First agenda item is the monthly financial report. If you could present that for us.
Yes. Good evening, council. I know Bob misses that when I don't say that, so I want to make sure I said it today. First of all, before we hit the agenda, I want to make sure that everyone's aware that as of today, the refund of the surplus checks have gone out. Residents should keep an eye out for the next couple days. Hopefully by the end of the week, you will be receiving a refund check due to the surplus for the FY 2022 budget year. There will be a letter as well explaining how the refund came about if you guys have not followed on the meetings. But as always, I am always in town hall available via email if there's any further questions on it. But just wanted to make sure council is aware that those have been processed and completed. Now going on to the current budget actuals. As of right now, how about I start off with if there's any specific questions council has on the packet.
Chris?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Roberto, thank you. On expense item 111001, convention and education. We're already
Yes.
we're already at 78%.
So, Councilman Morris, I'm going to miss you asking these questions. But, so that line item is actually for the VML, unfortunately, because there was a COVID situation that happened. We are still waiting for the refund. Once we receive the refunds, we will adjust that back. But that was due to the VML conference that we were going to have our town manager, the mayor, vice mayor, and our clerk of council participate in that. But we are just waiting for the official refund on those, and we'll go ahead and adjust that as well.
Thank you, sir. Events other. No, I'm sorry, 711003 contractual services. We're at 50.3%. Is that a pass-through? Majority
So,
of it is pass-through?
So that is due to the event that happened with Haymarket Day. The reason why you see that big charge is because the Haymarket Day is the biggest event we have throughout the year. So yes, a majority of the funds collected on the revenue side go towards that. So yes, in a way it is a pass-through because the Haymarket Day is actually one of the events that it pays for itself.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
I don't have a question, I have a
Comment?
comment. Roberto, can you apprise everybody on where we stand on second quarter budget amendments? Because some of the other issues on the remainder of the agenda will need to be addressed in that, where we stand on that.
Councilor, yes, I'm going to start working on those amendments. I have been keeping track of a few. I am aware there's a few things on the current agenda that would need to be addressed. So we are working on it, but the items that I have been discussed with finance should be okay to work with within the current budget.
Well, we're still going to bring forward an amendment, hopefully by December?
Yes, that is the goal, depending on, yeah, that is the goal.
And we're going to start on the new budget in December too?
January, yes. So January. No, I've already started trying to work on that. So for the most part, majority of revenue, I should kind of get a better picture within next month where we should end up. Currently, we're very positive on it. So yes, starting December, I'll start working on something on the back end, but nothing really too concrete till probably mid-January.
And last but not least, where do we stand on the audit? How much has been completed? And do we have any potential draft receipt date?
So, I'm still in the midst of working on the pre-audit information due to some additional work with the refund stuff. I have not been able to work 100% on that, but my goal is to finish some of the items that I am owing to the accountant I have not heard from our auditor, but I am hoping that we can get back to the schedule of having on-site meeting by the week of Thanksgiving.
Cool, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any more questions, comments? Thank you, Roberto.
Thank you.
Moving on, Police Department Office Assistant position. You got those, right?
Right after we finish this agenda item, can we also add to the agenda town administration administrative assistant?
You want that placed right after this?
Right after chiefs, please.
Okay, any objections?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did put two handouts to make sure that you do have the part-time PD administrative assistant. We've been looking at this for some time, and I did a lot of number crunching. And as you see in the paper copies that you've been provided, would be a listing of some of the PD administrative assistant duties. We found ourselves, and if you will see a breakdown on the back page. We found ourselves, we did an analysis of how much time is spent in administrative duties for myself and the lieutenant. Again, we started this project before we were even looking at an admin assistant, and thankfully so, because we actually had the data to look at going back over a year. So currently, approximately 2,100 hours, just over 2,100 hours are spent in administrative duties between myself and the lieutenant. We did identify 22 separate areas of admin duties with 77 subtopics. And of those, about 60 or roughly 78%, a civilian admin assistant could do at a part-time rate, which is obviously much cheaper than a full-time rate for a sworn employee who has a totally different skill set. So roughly 1,643 hours an admin assistant could devote to those duties. And if you look at the cost savings analysis and benefit of that, looking at if we totally maxed out at a 30-hour week for $20 an hour would be $31,200 of a part-time fee. The savings cost adjustment between taking those duties from sworn admin staff such as Lieutenant Davis and myself would have a cost savings of roughly $66,241 per year. Now that's if we max that out. Obviously, if we don't max those hours out and say the admin assistant gets to a point of maintenance to where we could knock that individual down to say 20 hours a week, then the cost savings only increases. This is total worst case scenario, and we're going to save $66,000 in doing so. We do find ourselves encumbered upon a lot of these things. As you know, in today's world, there is a huge amount of reporting, and that data extraction of reports that we have to use to get those numbers, to make sure they're right, make sure they're timely submitted, and are correct. It takes a lot of time. I was really shocked when I pulled the numbers from the treasurer on how much time we spent in admin duties. And those are times that we could be spent towards other projects that we feel are more important than that. To me, I think it's very beneficial. I think it's really a no-brainer. But I would be willing to, without going down each individual duty, I would still be willing to answer any questions that the council had in reference to this project.
Yep. My initial comments, when we do go for a certification with the Vallepsi, we will be encumbering a lot more paperwork requirements to keep that certification. So I do see the benefits of this. I do have a question. How much opportunity do we have in grants? Should we maybe look for somebody who has some grant writing experience as well? Maybe bump this salary up to handle grant writing too?
That is a different skill set. We can obviously put that in to the advertisement. To get grant writers, that's a pretty specific field nowadays. It's pretty rough to find somebody who's really good at that or has a lot of experience for a competitive wage scale. I would look more towards in that aspect that we might be able to find somebody that's in retirement stage that's looking to come back in that has the experience, and we might be able to pick them up. But you would probably have to add a few dollars to not $5 an hour onto that. And keeping in mind that the more grants that you encumber, the more reporting you encumber. It's just the cause and effect thing. I've dealt with grants my whole career practically, and they're great to get. They are free money, but the amount of reporting and the upkeep of those is encumbersome as well. But I don't think it's a bad idea at all, Mr. Mayor. I think it's looking, it's broad scope, it's outside the box, trying to get the best bang for your buck, and it's money well invested. And there is a lot of opportunities out there.
I thought I'd spark the conversation off with that. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
I have two observations, and this you could probably just take it into consideration as you move forward in vetting out the process. The recertification that Mr. Mayor just mentioned, the Villepsy, does it have to be done by sworn officers, or can an admin staff do most of the administration for it?
What I've found in the past is the larger the office, the more people they will devote towards that project, because there's a lot more proofs that you have to have. I think, and to answer your question bluntly, yes, a civilian can do that. In a lot of organizations, the civilian does do that, at least after the initial accreditation, when it becomes a maintenance program. All the go-bys, all the examples are in the folders from the initial accreditation. It's not hard to figure out as it is on the initial side. So yes, a civilian can, and in a lot of agencies, a civilian will be a huge part of that. And of course, not being a sworn position, it is a cost-saving measure.
My second observation has to do with the flat rate that you're proposing. Would any benefits be included? Would you think of any benefits at 30 hours per week? And in addition to that, at 30 hours, do we have to then meet the threshold for benefits to be included at 30 hours?
No, your max is usually at 32. You can, if you stay at 32 or below, you can still come in under that mandate. 30 is a good buffer. In Winchester, I liked using 28 because it just gave me a little bit more leeway, because you never know in the ebb and flow of things to where you're going to demand a lot more out of your part-time staff because of events in the world or events that's transgression in your area. So it's good to have that buffer, but at 30 we would be fine. And of course that becomes encumbersome upon me to properly manage the program and the personnel to make sure that we don't go beyond that threshold. Benefits are always great. They always get more people to the curb, so to speak. But you know, in the world today, it's very hard to find capable employees of a skill set caliber that's willing to work. So yes, but off the cuff, I can't think of any extra benefit that would drag somebody in.
And indulge me, Mr. Mayor, just one more point. Do you think there's ever an opportunity for that admin staff to work alongside with our town admin staff, even in being a full-time position where that person is shared between both departments?
On my side, I won't speak for the town manager, but on my side, it would be worthy. It would just be the question of the tug of war that would happen occasionally. You know, the town manager.
Well, first of all, you wouldn't win.
Yeah, that's for sure. Is we both might have projects that's got assumed a quick deadline, or it's very encumbersome to where we're trying to pull that person between the two. And how does that person decide who to devote more time to? Because we would both be in a supervisory role of that individual. Is it doable? Yes. Would it be cost effective? Yes. And of course, I think that the town manager and I has worked very well together, and I don't think it would come to that. But you just don't want to see that situation arise. But I think that the town manager and I could obviously work that out and do whatever we needed to do if that circumstance arose. But I don't want to speak for the town manager though.
Yep. Plus, we have the thought of 2 part-times may be cheaper in the long run since you don't have bennies to have to pay.
True.
So,
And then if the opportunity does come for that position to move or graduate into a full-time position, you know, with having 2 individuals, then you would be able to promote from within. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
okay. I see Bob's got his hand up.
Yeah, one of the few things that Chris and I absolutely agree on is the need for this, and have for quite some time. and I'm going to push it and I'm going to support you because, as I think all of us know, with the legacy reporting and contractual and billing issues that we've been cleaning up for 2 years, I don't believe that would have happened if we had had a dedicated admin, as we used to have, to handle the paperwork that, quite frankly, we pay you guys to do other things, both at the administrative level and at the officer level, the patrol officer level. That being said, ideally, what is your start date? Because we've got to start putting together the financing if we're going to adopt it.
I think that January 1 would be.
January 1?
Would be anticipated start date if we were able to move forward on that. We just want to, we want to properly vet the right candidate, make sure that we're getting what we're looking for, and have somebody that's going to be a good fit in the office that can work well. But I think that January 1 would definitely be doable, would probably be the soonest date.
Okay. Well, we can work, which means we can work it into the second quarter budget amendment, because we're going to make some,
And
we're going
that'd
to
be
propose
good.
some changes.
From a mechanical perspective, though, that means you're going to have to start looking sooner,
Yeah.
which means you're going to be looking for an approval sooner than January, right? You'll probably want to put it out for bid in a couple of weeks, I would think.
Yeah, it would be on the council's call to when they gave us the word that we could do that. We
Okay.
could move forward really quick with the timeline after that.
So we need to sit down and talk more with Roberto and figure out how.
Make a presentation at the November meeting and.
Can I suggest that if we could give the chief a thumbs up for him to move in this direction, then the details with the financial team can come afterwards once we give him the thumbs up, that we're in support of something like this.
Well,
It goes against
Yeah.
my, but in this
You
case,
need the
I'm
money
actually
before you
willing
can
to make a
execute.
deal. I mean, I don't want to take a formal vote on it, but if you want to give a tacit thumbs up, yeah,
Yeah,
I've said for a long time.
Yes,
this
I'm not
is-
saying a
this is
formal
overdue.
vote. I'm just saying just to give the chief the blessing that the council is willing to entertain it further than this presentation.
Yeah.
Joe?
yeah. So,
next.
as I was saying, yeah, I think we can do that. I think we can, start the work, get it started, get it in the pipeline. You can advertise it. You can start doing your interviews, and I think we can have things in place by January 1st. But we have to sit down and go through that process.
Yes, sir.
We have to formally adopt
Right.
the position, but we can do that from both a financial and a structural standpoint, I don't see how I don't think we're going to have a problem getting that done by November 7th.
So the question I have for Roberto, who's listening, I think, is the budget impacts and some ideas, or we can talk about it with the finance liaisons and then bring it back if you want, rather than have that discussion tonight. Where could we find the money? How would we do it?
We started some preliminary discussions on that last week.
So, but I want to clarify something. So when you talk about cost savings, it's not going to reduce the budget 66,000. It's going to be cost avoidance, essentially.
Correct. What Councilman Ware said is exactly right. You're paying us to do other things.
Correct.
And it
Agreed.
will allow us to free up to do those things and move further forward in projects that we see, like Bilepsy accreditation,
Right.
and other projects that we want to do. So no, you've coined it right, and that's just the way I should have put it. So thank
Okay.
you. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Will we get to see you on the bike, too? Or no?
Maybe the drone. I'll ride the drone.
Be one damn big drone.
That would be the Vice Mayor.
My question, so several of my questions were already asked and answered. Do you feel with the suggestion of adding a grant writing skill set that maybe a range for the hourly rate would be beneficial as opposed to just a flat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it would. And then I had mentioned it to finance last week that if they came with certain skill sets, it might be worthy to add $1 or $2. So with you having that idea of the range, that would give us a little flexibility in there to actually evaluate the person's skill set and apply it appropriately, apply their hourly wage appropriately.
And maybe cast a net a little wider.
It definitely would, and it would definitely have the foresight of the grant aspect that Mayor Lorson brought up.
Anybody on this side?
If no one else, I do have one last thing. Have you thought of other additional expenses that would be incurred bringing someone on as far as construction, setting up a new office area?
I think that in the current year that we can make it work with what we have, but in the next budget cycle, yes, I have thought of that, to do some improvements, to make it more aesthetic for everybody in the office, especially with the admin staff. But I think we can make it work for 6 months until that goes forward.
So this would be in line, if this is approved, this would be in line with the original plan of having that major foyer coming into the building, splitting off to the right to the PD with the admin staff there. Is that still a plan? Is that still something that we're looking at as far as the grand entry to the building itself?
I think it could definitely be something that we analyze and we determine if that would fit the needs of town administration and police department at that time. It'll be a cost analysis of if it's something that we need to do the full build out in order to be efficient and productive. I'd have to get with Chief on what he's envisioning for the next fiscal year on a certain build out or equipment and determine if that would translate well over to putting in that bigger scope of work, doing a grand entrance. That's a big project that the town had been looking at for quite some time, so we would definitely have to do a cost analysis in that case.
And this is not the elevator portion, this is just the entry portion.
That would just be the entry portion. We can look and evaluate at what it means, but that's a complete modification of the back hallway, the restrooms, the entryway into town hall, closing off the town hall door, and a complete renovation of the town hall space. So it would be minimal impact to Chief and the police department to get that admin office in, but it would be a major overhaul to the town administration offices and a big cost there. So it would just come down to, is it worth everything, for us to go forward with that?
Good. Thank you, Mr. Ray.
Okay, Bob.
Getting back to the grants again, because that's what's really concerning me. Since we got rid of our admin position several years ago, we haven't had the grant opportunities that we've had in the past. And we're precluded from several for various other sundry reasons right now. But my experience has always been that the hardest part about the grant writing and the grant process is doing the initial research. It's locating the grant opportunities, it's scoping out whether the department is eligible to receive those grants or has the capability of fulfilling the grant requirements, and then it's identifying the eligibility for it. And I think that's what we've been sorely lacking, and as good as you are at the grant writing, you don't have the time to invest, because of all of your other duties, in what is almost a perpetual search for grant opportunities, which is something that the admin could do as a matter of the employment contract. This is one of your base functions is, Congress has a new spending bill out, what grant opportunities, what is DOJ putting out in terms of block grants, that sort of thing. And I think that's the boat that we have missed for the last 10 years.
Yep. And the town manager and I have had conversations with Prince William County in which we can actually leverage their grant writer to understand the tools that are out there, such as GovDot-Grant and all that stuff, to actually bring a person up to speed with all the vehicles that they have access to.
Well, and if we've got an admin, we can actually piggyback on a lot of their grant opportunities if they're willing to let us.
Which is what we're doing now. Well, we are with respect to the quiet zones, things of that nature.
So yeah, there has been some better county
Yeah, but there's also been some
collaboration.
issues in the past in DOJ block grants and who the administrator is and how the monies get, especially when Prince William is designated as the coordinating agency for not only the county but all of the towns within the county, and we've had
that'll
we've had
restrict
issues
us.
with disbursement of federal funds to the town jurisdictions, specifically Dumfries, Quantico, and Haymarket. Dumfries, Occoquan, and Haymarket.
Yeah, that'll restrict us, but if we do have the administrator to
Well, that was just it.
claim us to take ownership of it.
We didn't have the ability to force the county to do what their DOJ requirements were and the monies that they were proctoring, and this would have somebody tasked, whose partial task would be, you know, you got a block grant for X, where's our percentage? And, you know, here's our invoices.
You mean like the stormwater management assessment that we're still waiting to get from?
I mean, like the original,
Addendum, Mr.
I
Mayor.
mean, like the original.
Well, no, I mean,
mobile data
we're still
computers
waiting
from
for
years
Prince
back.
William County
It
to
took
bring that out for
3 years to
us.
get out of the county.
That's an example for Bob's argument.
Councilman Wade, your comments are dead on with grant writing. And I believe also that we've developed a good rapport over the last year with the Chief Newsham and the Western District Commander, Jacques Boyer. And I really think that they would welcome us with open arms on that project.
Good.
That'd be good.
I'm certain, I won't speak with either one of them, but I'm certain that they would.
Joe?
Yeah, just one final observation. We're only talking about, in this budget, 6 months,
Correct.
not a full year. And then, should we go forward and hire somebody, we'll have to make the adjustment for 6 months of the year, and then make sure you have it in your next budget,
Correct.
just to be clear. Okay,
What was the total for the,
31.2,
so we're looking at 15?
and change.
Everyone good?
To summarize that discussion, so we will be bringing back, we'll work with Roberto. Chief and I will work with Roberto, bring back numbers for the November 7th meeting so that we can get the council directive in motion. But in the meantime, Chief will be working on finalizing everything on his end to prep and work towards the advertisement goal.
Isn't that delaying it, though? Because you have 2 weeks between now and then? I mean, why is it that the chief and the finance liaisons can't work on it over the next week?
Oh.
And
We will.
no, but not wait on November 7th. The November 7th is 2 weeks away.
He's going to go forward and
Okay.
start to develop
The
bid,
recruiting,
Okay?
the notice, or whatever you call it.
yeah.
Advertisement.
Thank
Job
you.
ad.
Advertisement, thank you. Marketing, thank you
So-
very much.
To clarify and put in the most simplest of terms, if Chief were to have all of that material ready and to release to the public to advertise this position effective Friday morning, Chief could move forward with doing so on, say, Friday morning. Is that, I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
We're good with that.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
we
just
still-
because we're advertising doesn't mean we're hiring yet. We still need to, allocate the money and everything. So while the advertisements are out there, we're going to allocate the money and
Well, the money actually
finalize it.
exists
Well-
within the current budget, but we're going to have to.
We're going to have to.
And I
make-
think,
Approval processes.
Roberto.
Roberto,
Roberto?
Council, I don't want to interrupt, but sitting here, the total number that we will need for a 6-month period, we're talking about 17,420 and 52 cents. That includes all the taxes for a gross amount of 15,600. So it's actually very minimal. And I've had this discussion with Chief and our town manager. We did discuss it after our last finance meeting. We discussed it a little bit more. I went and pulled up the data, and I can tell you that for 6 months, it would be, we're talking about 17,420, 52 cents.
Treasurer speaks.
Treasurer speaks.
The directive.
Yes, sir, I do. Understood.
So any last comments? Okay, move on to the next item, I guess the town administration.
I do apologize for the late addition to the agenda, but what we have before you, I have passed out a job description for the administrative assistant going from a part-time to a full-time position. This is the same, similar job description that we have previously vetted back in the early springtime. We are looking to add additional responsibilities and roles to this position and expand it to a full-time. Based on the last 6 months, the staffing needs and demands in the administrative offices, and then upcoming work schedules and needs of the town administration, we are finding that the additional hours are necessary to continue to move forward in efficient, productive manners and get all of our deliverables and work items done in a timely fashion. We have always, kind of historically speaking, we have always had a minimum of 4 full-time staff members on the administrative side. Certainly, if you want a more in-depth breakdown, Roberto and I could go through that with you, but we have always had the 4 full-time. What we're finding with 3 full-time members and several part-time members is that we just need the additional manpower. So we've outlined additional responsibilities here. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Again, this would take the current part-time administrative assistant from 32 hours a week up to the full 40, and it would look at giving the full benefits package as well.
When is the evaluation due for the current part-time admin?
We're going to be completing a 6-month review, actually this week. She has submitted everything from her side. We're just waiting on her to come back from sick leave. Well, not sick leave, but she's out for illness.
I think this is a more immediate need because Emily will be going out on leave for a number of months, and there's certainly going to need the extra help and the extra hours.
That is correct. Ideally, if this is something that council is supportive of, we would like to be able to initiate it as soon as possible. There are some items internally, new responsibilities that we would want to work with this administrative assistant in the next 3 or so weeks to have the understanding of some new expectations with the full-time position. So we'd like to go ahead and get that training done, get that expectation set so that the acting town manager would be well set up for my leave.
Hey, Roberto? Roberto, if you could hear me,
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
you want to speak up? Can you speak a little bit about budget impacts of this move?
Yeah, so in doing the part with Chief, I also went ahead and did an analysis of projecting about how much we would need for the remainder of the year. Speaking with the town manager, we had requested for a start date of November 1st. So that would make it about 18 pay cycles. So in the budget wise, I would want to budget if a full family plan, not knowing really if that is going to be an option, but I always want to be better safe than sorry to set up the budget. So in total for this position to switch over, we would need the regular wages about $47,976 and 84 cents to complete the rest of this current fiscal year.
And that's a worst-case scenario, correct, assuming that they participate in the benefits, which they may or may not do, depending upon their marital status and pre-existing benefits packages, correct?
Correct. There's only one benefit that we offer that they really can say yes or no to. The VRS is an automatic.
Okay.
That's a benefit the town gets, but the health insurance, that estimate includes 17,395 of that is actually health insurance for a full family plan, if that would be the case.
Understood.
That brings it down to 30.
Is this 47.9 for the rest of the year?
Yes.
Correct. It would be for 18 pay cycles, so it would be for November all the way to June 30th.
Oh, wait a minute, does that include the additional hours or all hours? Because
No,
we're
those are
talking
all-
about
those are-
converting a part-time to a full-time, so the hourly calculation should just be the numbers, the delta between the part-time and the full-time, right?
No, because the part-time already have it set aside. We already have paid that, so this is just saying going forward what we would need.
It's the incremental. No?
But does that number represent the delta in the number of increased hours, or is that an all-in at the?
That's an all-in.
Well, then, we need
Delta.
to know what
No,
the difference is if you
that-
back out that initial 30 hours for the
32.
part-time.
No. My apologies. This is the delta. This is what it would be the difference. The part-time is separate. If you look at the budget, it is completely separate from what a regular pay versus. So that, so far, that doesn't include that. This is what it would include to convert this employee into a full-time employee. The only thing we would have to change would be the health insurance. I would have to recalculate.
This is the delta.
So yes,
But the true cost would involve backing out the part-time hours though, correct? Or have you already done that?
I've already done that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the delta.
Because it includes the fringe.
Yeah.
30,000 is the delta
If
for
you didn't
6
have the
months?
fringe.
Doesn't sound right.
Benny's, the moment you put Benny's on it.
I know, I mean,
Well, the
but
FICA.
even, well, FICA and everything still, okay, I mean, 30,000.
Well, we can double check.
We'll double check it on Thursday.
Mary?
Thank you, Mayor. I had a couple questions. Do the responsibilities that are shown here, are they what Katie's responsibilities are currently?
This is updated responsibilities, so several additional ones have been added to this job description from the part-time that was previously approved.
Okay, perfect. And I don't recall, did we say how many hours she's currently working?
32.
Okay. And then one last question. Do we have explicit social media guidelines? I know that might have been something that we were working towards for our communications plan. I just don't know if internally we have any guidelines.
That's correct. We're working towards them in the communications plan. We don't currently have them. However, since social media is discussed in this, I'm happy to sit with, several council members, sit with everybody and discuss what some of our guidelines are in the near term so that we don't have any slack or dropping of the ball when it comes to this position and the expectation.
Right, I want to set her up for success if this is going to be to plan, create, and schedule all of that. I'd be happy to sit and help work on anything, and then we can present it to council or whatever. I'm happy to help.
Anybody else? I do see you did add the social media in here. So is this position going to capture the social media requirements that we have in place, or are we still looking for a future part-time to handle web administration and everything else that was being tossed around before?
So at this time, what we would like to do is work with the administrative assistant to do more updating on the website management, making sure things are current, as well as additional posting to our social media. Currently, we're working with a consultant on a majority, 90% of our social media posting. We would like to be able to have more of this in-house so that we can do quick updates, things that are relevant that our community needs to know about now and not have to wait on that consultant. So it will be kind of a learn as we go, in a sense of, building this person up, giving them the right resources to be able to train, do the job and duty effectively, and then evaluate at a later date if we need any assistance with the website, social media. But at this time, I do not plan to bring back a social media part-time position in this budget year. And then also to add to that, Roberto and I are discussing with our current website host what a new redesigned website would entail cost-wise, what it would get, what benefits are there. So we're having that discussion, and certainly if we go down that route, this is something the admin would take a lead on in order to be fully trained.
Okay. Chris?
Two things, timeline and directive. When are you looking to, you're hoping to get this approved by council? And what directive would you want to walk away with tonight? You have 4 weeks. You have 4 weeks, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ideally, a November 1st transition from part-time to full-time, so that we can move ahead appropriately with setting the new expectations and providing the appropriate training, in conjunction with knowing that I will be going out in 4 weeks. I briefly discussed this with the finance liaisons as well as Roberto in our last two meetings. We did dive a little bit deeper last week on it, on the financial side of things. Again, Roberto can answer questions for it. But at a latest date, I would ask that we approve it November 7th, no later than that date, so we could move forward.
It seems like this Thursday is going to be a long finance liaison meeting.
Yeah.
They always are.
But is there, but is there anything that we can get accomplished without waiting until November 7th? Like
I think I would ask council to consider if they're comfortable with what Roberto's presented as his numbers, and knowing that it would work within Second Amendment or second quarter amendments.
Go ahead, Bob.
This is why I don't like doing things this way, but I'm not theoretically opposed to doing this. However, Joe and I are going to need to sit down with the treasurer, because I think our numbers are not matching his numbers, and I want to make sure that before we bring this to council for adoption, we've got a firm number on what the true cost is going to be. And I mean, going ahead and doing the procedural stuff to set it up for the hiring, or for the transition from part-time to full-time, I don't think is going to be an issue in terms of just getting the ball rolling. And I'm not even averse to going ahead and adopting it for a July or for a November 1 start date, if we can reach some conclusion this week on the finance side as to what the actual true cost is. Because if it's significant, and I suspect it's going to be significantly less than the treasurer is presenting, but we're going to sit down with him on Thursday and go over the numbers. So if I'm not in principle opposed to it, if the numbers come out at that level or below.
But that's good. I mean, right now at 47,900, you know, if you're comfortable and you're still working on it to come down drastically, we're still in a good place, because we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I just like us to have a clearer picture of what the number actually is.
And I think that's what Thursday is for, with you guys I'm hashing it out with the treasurer.
Let me ask a clarification question of Roberto and Emily. So right now, that position, how many hours a week is it working?
It's 32.
So 32, and so we're looking to increase it by 8 hours.
That's correct.
By a quarter percent, so you're
Okay.
25%. So
We'll do the math. We'll work with
The
Roberto.
math won't work. It won't work if you guys are trying to do it just completely off of FICA tax, because you guys are not taking into account VRS.
yeah.
So that's
No,
another factor
we're
too.
doing that, Roberto.
We're not,
That's good. That's why you're leading the meeting on Thursday, Roberto.
Yeah.
You're the treasurer.
You better come with a complete set of numbers.
I would
I have them already, so.
all right, good.
Oh, another long finance meeting. Great.
I would just say with that, we certainly internally and administratively, we can do the prep work and we can start the discussions. And then if it is something that goes effective November 8th, that is also okay. We can make that work.
I'd be a whole lot more
I think
comfortable
we
with
want to
that.
get that sooner rather than later.
That's true.
Ideally, we do, but we can work within that timeline if we need to bring it back to the council meeting. I do understand bringing it forward into all of council's perspective.
So is our current part-time admin assistant available to switch from part-time to full-time?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah, I would
Well, that
hope
eliminates
that
a
was
problem.
discussed earlier.
There's one problem out of the
I
way.
did not put the cart before the horse in that regard.
Question, Vice Mayor.
I have clarification, if somebody could clarify the timeline and what the directive
Yeah,
is.
even with FICA,
So
without
we are
VRS and
okay
insurance.
with finance liaisons having that discussion. If it comes in less than what is already proposed, we could effectively do something November 1st. Okay.
So what's the decision then after the Thursday meeting?
If you want to leave it to us to say yay or nay, based on the numbers, I'm not comfortable with it, but I'll live with it.
But The comfort is after the meeting on Thursday, you're basically going in the right direction, which is heading
If-
down from 49.7
If that's the case.
if that's the case.
If that's the case.
But what if the number is 49,700?
I'll live with it.
It depends on the period that it's covering.
Yeah,
We
I
just need to
mean,
clarify.
there's a lot of clarification
Just need
needed.
to clarify the period it's covering. Maybe we're confused, Roberta does a very good job with this stuff, but we just want to ask those probative questions so we can make sure we're comfortable, and so everybody else is comfortable.
Understood. But again, after Thursday, then there is
But we
9
won't know.
days. There's 9 days before we meet again.
Yeah, so the directive would be to move forward with the transition with our
How about
meeting
if we have
being
Roberto
the
update everybody
execution?
next Friday, and if it's if it's within that framework, then we proceed. And have Roberto send out a memo to everybody on what the cost is gonna be,
You said next Friday, I meant this Friday?
this Friday, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, so it's basically conditioned.
Yes, yes,
And then that way everybody has an official input.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I can live with that.
So we have a conditional directive. You're understood, okay?
I believe so.
And the,
I'll work with the clerk to pull minutes.
and the true objections
Flavor
will,
sausage are we making tonight?
will be held on Friday via email.
I can live with that. I'm sorry, I had to say that.
Okay.
Sorry, Council, I'll have to leave to pick up a child, so catch you guys later.
Yours?
Family responsibilities first. See ya.
Is it your child?
By your wife, right?
Okay. Thank you, Marchand.
Okay. Did we beat that to death?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I actually thought that was going to be easier than Chiefs.
Let's move on then.
Next time, go before the chief.
Snow policy. This should be an easy one, right?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we defer this until the January, or to the November meeting, so that the town attorney has time to,
Let the town
Clean it up.
manager give the description to
I'm
the
just trying to move
council
things
so that
along
they.
so they can go home.
I was going to get to that same point. Following a brief discussion with the town attorney, so what we have proposed here is a draft snow removal policy in response to some of the feedback we heard last year from our community regarding Washington Street and Jefferson Street. But again, with a brief discussion with our town attorney, we do need to make additional modifications, so I can work with him on that this week and bring back something for the November 7th meeting to finalize and put in place. Namely, we need to recognize who will be doing the enforcement of the policy, calling that out, and then making sure that the acting town manager will be ready to proceed in
Execute
the
it.
winter months. And
Okay.
budgetary,
So,
There's also some language issues.
some budgetary
from
impacts also
conforming
that
to the
we
state
want to
code.
bring up as well.
so if there are no objections,
Just
we'll
one,
table
I
it.
just want one observation. If you could cross-check this with other jurisdictions that may have it to double-check the 6-inch.
Yes, we actually started with a policy out of Winchester, and that's what we proposed, tweaking that policy and putting that before you tonight. But our town attorney wants us to work on some more adjustments.
Perfect.
Recommended we look at the town of Occoquan as
Yes.
one of them.
Yes, yeah. 6-inch seems high, just look at it and.
Yep. Joe?
Yeah, I don't have any objections with that. My only concern is that we identify which properties or areas in the town that we're responsible for. I think that would be nice to have that as part of the,
That will be an interesting discussion in November.
There
Oh,
will
yes, it would
be-
be.
An interesting discussion based on, again, the brief correspondence with the town attorney. He said
Fine.
we would not have to worry about that with this policy because it would fall on the owner of the land abutting. But again, we will look into it and identify.
yeah, I think
The-
we
the
still.
cloaking of
I would
ordinances.
respectfully disagree with the town attorney in one respect. I think we need to delineate those areas that are exactly our responsibility. It would be for budgetary purposes as well as for posterity, so people understand what the town's responsible for.
And I know this may sound, no, I'm not going to use that word, but maybe a map that goes along with it. That,
I think we're going to
Graphics
definitely.
works great.
yeah, graphic, to just draw it out because of what happened last season.
Okay, so we'll table this. If you do plan on putting any type of decision on this by next meeting, this needs to be in the agenda packet a week early so that citizens have time to react
Yes.
and give comment.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do we want to do a public hearing on that? Should we?
I'm going to suggest that next month.
Yeah, we were talking about this, and, I mean, putting in the package is great. It's out there in the public. Should we do a hearing on it so people understand it
Once it's drafted.
once it's
Once
drafted?
it's drafted?
Just something to consider,
Well,
because this could be a very contentious
all
thing.
depends on if we have an early snow coming in December. That might be a little tricky.
Well, Farmer's Almanac says we should be okay. No, Mike.
Well,
I think-
we'll toss that around behind closed doors and see if a public meeting is needed at the next meeting.
I'm gonna make the, at the next meeting, I will probably move for a public hearing to be held on it. And because it's gonna be an ordinance, and it's gonna be an ordinance that is gonna be of significant impact to quite a number of people, especially since we're extending it to more than just the Washington Street sidewalks. So I think as a matter of transparency and good public policy, we probably should have a public hearing in December, if we come out with a draft in November.
Yeah, I agree, because I think we pretty much just cloaked Prince William County's ordinances with snow removal, and if we're going to put this in place, all of a sudden, we are becoming the owner of this ordinance.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
We'll
I would
also be-
agree that
we'll also
probably
be-
a public
We'll also be
announcement
an
would be needed.
enforcement body, or, snow enforcer, town manager. We'll have to get her the snow
Oh,
enforcement
yeah.
badge. Or the town planner.
PD won't like that one, if they got to become the enforcer on that one. Okay,
Maybe the town planner will be the enforcement officer for that.
so we'll work that, on that then, and if anything comes up, citizens expect this in the agenda beforehand, before we make a decision.
No surprise.
Okay. Next item, communications plan update. Vice Mayor.
Right, so we sent a link out and did some grassroots knocking on doors, and we'll continue to do so for the survey for the communications plan deadline, October 31st. I'm hoping to get some additional outreach from the HOAs. I thought that was a great idea. So the link was provided. And then I know that I walked my neighborhood and will continue to walk. I know that you guys walked some. So thus far, we've gotten 17 responses.
Sorry.
Two more. Two more than.
How long did it take us to get 15?
Oh, this is ridiculous. Is this being
Through a
recorded?
consultant, too.
Yes, it is.
So that's so far?
It's a recorded meeting.
Can somebody cut this clip out?
No.
Okay,
No.
send it to someone.
So obviously, the goal is to take the information, we're gonna analyze it, we'll put it in a draft as a working document.
Good.
And that's gonna provide your communication standard to include social media.
That's
But,
amazing. That's amazing.
Let me clarify.
do-
Can you clarify something for me? This is 17 responses since you put this out last week, in addition to the 15 responses that took 6 months to get?
10 months.
10 months.
10 months.
Okay. Just want a clarification on that.
all the clarification, yes.
Good job.
So, in the survey, there are a couple questions that will help us determine which direction to go with future surveys. So I sincerely appreciate the participation and the feedback. It is all being taken very seriously to help provide.
Do we have any printed copies of the survey?
No, but I mean, we can print out the
Questionnaire?
the questionnaire, yeah. If you go to link, we can just print it out. We've got the QR code, the link.
Staff?
Mm-hmm.
Thank
I don't do QR codes. I can barely open my phone.
you. I have 3 more days, but I'd rather printed copies.
How many do you need?
3 more days?
For people to fill out.
To hand out, or?
Yeah, just to walk the next door and have them.
He wants to total over 20 before he leaves.
I want 20. I
Okay.
want to shove 20.
May I recommend, I will print them for certain, but may I recommend that you encourage them to go online and fill it out in the electronic format so that we're not having to do data input and we don't mistakenly input their results, and then it's all captured and we can analyze it in that format.
So the URL flyer?
Forward that email?
Forward the link. Yeah,
The
when
link.
you click on the link, it will open
all
up
of your
the
friends and
survey,
family.
and then you can print out
And
that survey.
it's very easy if you bring up the QR code, or if you have that on a paper format and you go to your neighbors and they open up their camera on their smart device and they hover over top of it, it automatically highlights a link that they should click on, and that link automatically takes them to the survey.
I've got some out in the car if you
Takes
want it with
less
the
than
QR code
5
on it.
minutes to fill out. If that option doesn't work, but you have your neighbors' emails, you can also forward them that link that Tracy Lynn sent out.
I have some half sheets with the QR code on it in the car if you want it.
We were handing them out this weekend.
So as far as deliverables, I'm going to, we've taken a tally today, which was 17. We'll take another tally on Wednesday.
Good,
We'll
good.
take a tally on Friday. I'll communicate that with y'all through email. And then, like I said, the deadline is Monday, so there'll be another tally on Tuesday. We'll do end results.
How many times can you vote? No, we can't.
That's all.
That's it? Any questions for Vice Mayor?
No, it was clear,
Okay,
concise, and they were deliverables.
and quick, yeah. Okay, moving on then.
Get out there, come on.
We got the amendment to the ZTA.
Yes, council, tonight we have our new town planner, Thomas Britt, with us, and. Snow removal enforcer. Yes, snow removal enforcer. And I am transitioning over, this is one of his projects that he will be carrying out. So I'm going to turn it over to him to present to you guys tonight.
Great. Hello again. I know I've had correspondence with a few of y'all over the past week or two. I look forward to working with everybody. So the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act, there's specific language within that. And in the memo that I passed out, we should have yellow highlights in here for the public. This piece of paper is available on this table over here if you're interested in looking as well. This was reviewed in September of 2022. Essentially, the CBPA has blanket regulations for all governmental entities in Virginia. So in Emily's correspondence with the DEQ over the past couple of years, they were doing a compliance review over the CBPA requirements. Highlighted in yellow are some of the items that are included in our town zoning ordinance. So, and there were no public comments on this specific zoning text amendment either. So with that in mind, the Planning Commission forwarded the ZTA with recommendations of approval for the town council to add these additional CBPA requirements into the town ordinance. Yes.
My paper has number 7 cut off. It goes from 6 to 8. Was 7 one of the highlighted numbers?
7 was not highlighted. Are you talking about on section 58, 22 to 24? That one? 7 is not highlighted. It's 8 through 13 that are highlighted on that one.
I'm missing the entire page.
Oh, you want mine?
Yeah, I am too.
We'll get that fixed for you.
Well,
In the meantime,
this is scheduled for public hearing for November 7th, correct?
Part of that is why we're bringing it to your attention right now is so we can have a directive for public hearing.
Do we have enough
7th.
time to schedule a public hearing?
No, sir, so that is why we're presenting it to you guys tonight, so you can ask your questions. But just based on how the meetings fell and our public notice requirements, we'll get a directive on the 7th from the council. Thomas will proceed with Kim to do the public notice, and then that meeting will be held on December 5th, I believe.
Yes.
It's a ministerial function of directing the public hearing, so we might as well just get that out of the way tonight instead of doing it on the 7th.
Yeah.
And without objection, I would task staff with publishing the Chesapeake Bay ZTA for a public hearing on, you say December 5th? I don't have my calendar in front of me.
It's December 5th. Yes, sir.
December 5th at 7 PM.
Yes.
No objection.
No objections?
No objection.
Okay.
Stop here.
We'll give you a copy. And then
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to have that page.
Yeah.
that's all we have for that item.
It's his
That's
turn,
good.
it's his turn to do it.
Okay, last time.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I move for us to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you, Bob.
Meeting adjourned.
I've got copies from the planning commission, I don't need one.
So just so you know, we did get some cupcakes to celebrate